Hey everybody, Danny Benitez with the Who's Your Danny show. I'm at Street Toyota, which is my biggest competitor. They are the #1 store in the entire market. I'm going to actually interview the general manager of this store. So yes, a general manager is going to interview a competing general manager in their own market. This is going to get kind of weird. His name's Mike Good. He's outstanding. I'm actually a little nervous, a little intimidated. If you'll come over here and look, the sun is just coming up. It's like 7-something in the morning. There's a bunch of people here already, so I'm intimidated already. I know these guys well, but every time I come here I get a little bit depressed. So I brought some croissants for they have like a camera crew. So I brought some croissants. I got one extra and ate it on the way over, and for those of you at home, that's kind of a tip. I'll eat one, and then when we share it, I'll actually get another one. So I've got to get rid of the wrapper. But anyway, I'm looking around. Let's do a little 360. This store it's gigantic. It's really big. It's lit up. It's new. Their service department's cracking. And I don't know. It's going to be fun. I know these guys, but I'm going to also try to hack into their CRM. I'm going to be watching. Maybe I can get some logins and passwords. Maybe I can lift some of their customer base. I don't know. We're going to go in and really ask some questions, see if we can find out why they're so successful. I'm already finding out a little bit, but it's going to be fun. We're going to have some breakfast. Welcome to the Who's Your Danny show.
This thing right here is for the IS-20G. And this thing right here is by my man Danny B. What they call you?
Who's your Danny? They say it's me. Been doing cars since '83. I'm busting fools and teaching schools, sharing tools and breaking rules. Who's your Danny? They say it's me. Breaking it down for all to see. Keep it simple, keep it clear. The status quo is all I fear.
Hello, welcome to the Who's Your Danny show. I'm here with Mr. Mike Good. He is the general manager of Street Toyota, which is an actual competing dealership with us in the same market. So, Mike, I'm not sure, but this might be an industry first. I know it's an autotainment first. A dealership interviewing another dealership that's actually a competitor. So I hope you're super proud to be a part of this Who's Your Danny show. We're breaking new ground today. Yeah, okay, here's the deal. Sure. We're in Mike Good's personal garage. These are all of his cars in here. There's a, what is that one?
That's a black one.
No, that's a Mercedes. Is that a Bentley?
That's a Bentley, yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to get some shots here of it. And which one did you drive to work today?
I told you I'm not going to tell you a whole lot today.
Okay.
I'm going to try to measure it.
Okay, I'm trying to warm you
Sure.
up.
Yes, I'm warm.
Okay. Mike Good, how long have you been in the car business?
Probably 30 plus years.
30 plus. Okay, so that's pretty close to the same amount of time I've been in. You worked for the OEM. Didn't you work for Toyota for a while?
I worked for Gulf States Toyota
Okay.
for less than 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
And when talent comes out, dealers grab, right?
You know, I was just so grateful for the opportunity to come to work in this store.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you, they're pretty grateful that you came too, because I remember when Street Toyota was on the other side of town, smaller store. The store was selling 70, 80, 90, 100 cars a month, something like that. Is that close?
On a good month, yeah.
On a good month.
We did 100.
And enter Mike Good, how many years ago?
13 years ago.
13 years ago, okay. And the last few months average about how many cars a month?
We're doing 5,000 a year.
5,000. Okay, I don't understand the math. I think monthly. 450 cars a month?
400 plus.
Oh, okay. And see, this is the painful part because
how many do you sell a month, Danny?
we're running we're already running a little
Short of
short
time?
on
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
But Mike and the group here at Street Toyota, they've got 17% of the total car business in this market in this one store. Town of 180 to 200,000 people. They've just been dominating. And so I'm really proud and also extremely jealous. And I can tell you part of the reason, what time is it right now, Mike?
Well, it's about 7:45.
Right, and we've been here an hour visiting and running around, so you guys get started early, right?
We do.
Okay.
Many of us get here around 6:30,
Oh,
7:45.
okay. No, we, maybe that's, I'm going to write that down. Come to work early.
Right.
Okay. Tip number one. I'm trying to get tips here. I want to try to catch you. And yes, I'm here. We're interviewing a person who's dominating the market. He's kicking my ass pretty bad. But we're good friends. We've known each other for a long time. We've done different things together. But one of the things I've always loved about you, Mike, is that you are a non-stop learner, reader. You're always reading something. You're always looking at new concepts. And what are you reading right now?
Well, two of my favorite books, and probably have affected our operation as much as anything, is Daniel Pink in Drive, where he talks about essentially what motivates today's workforce,
Right.
which is autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Great way to run a dealership. And Simon Sinek, recently caught him on TED Talks, and he talks about discovering your why. He
Start
says,
with why?
Exactly. He says people don't buy your. Oh, well, you already know this, Danny.
Oh.
Okay. The good people don't buy your what or your how. They buy your why.
That's right. That's right.
That just like Daniel Pink, he relates purpose with Simon Sinek's why.
Sure.
That's what makes people engage. Gallup said recently that in November of last year they measured almost 69% of the American workforce is disengaged.
Sure.
That really means, Danny, that your people, 69% of them, go line them up against the wall, 7 out of 10,
Yeah.
really don't give a rat's rear end about your dealership
Sure.
or how well you're going to do, the end of the month figures or anything else. They're just there for a paycheck. Really, it becomes almost an act of prostitution.
Right.
I'll show up, I'll do what you say you need me to do,
Right.
and you pay me, and then I'm going on my way, and I really don't care what happens after that.
Point number 2, prostitution.
Right.
No, I couldn't agree more. As a matter of fact, we were, I did a workshop called Retention Deficit Disorder and Other Dealership Maladies. And one of the conditions was not really having engaged employees. And what we did is, in this workshop, as we talked about, there's really 3 levels of customers and 3 levels of employees. You have the people that just show up, and we're going to call them satisfied, because in the whether it's the workforce or customers, just having a satisfied employee or a satisfied customer is not enough. The next step is engaged. That's someone who has to be satisfied, but they're engaged, so they're a little more involved. They believe in what you do. And then the third step is an ambassador. So what we want to try to do is create ambassadors in the workplace and ambassadors to customers, people that not only enjoy what they do, they believe in what you believe, they believe in your why, and then they shout it from the mountaintops, and they either recruit other customers, recruit great people, and we have to get our people to that place. And I love Start With Why and Leaders Eat Last, which is
Absolutely.
his last book. I'm about halfway through, so in my eyes, I'm done. If I get
Sure,
halfway through a
sure.
book, I'm really doing great. The last book I read from cover to cover was Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, which was the Willy Wonka Part 2,
Sure.
once they bust through the elevator, and I read that.
So
cover to
if
cover.
you
It's fantastic.
you no longer read Dr. Zeus or
No, I do
Any
not.
of that?
I do not read Dr. Zeus or Dr. Seuss.
right.
Dr. Zeus, that's mythology, right? Okay.
Let's go back to what you were talking. Danny, you're a nut.
Hey, I know.
And right where you deserve to be in the marketplace. So let's go back and talk just a minute about the why, the
Okay.
purpose.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about, retention,
Sure.
you know, it really goes to the hard issues of why someone's there,
Right.
why they show up. And you know what that relates to directly is the culture.
Absolutely.
What kind of a belief and value system you have from the top down? I mean, from the guy who put the money in the bank so that
Sure.
she can write the checks, to the porter who's cleaning up the next customer's car.
Right.
And if they have the same value and belief system that essentially governs behavior and dictates again that why, then you've got that. It all fits.
So we're talking about from the dealer down, everyone in the building. How do you communicate that? If, let's just say there's people out here watching that say, yeah, that sounds great. How do I get my boss to buy into this? I'm a general sales manager, let's say, and I have a GM who doesn't share that mindset. What can people do to affect the culture if they don't have that? What are some things that the person watching can do?
I think really it's a mindset. We decided as a group, our leadership, we said, you know what? This is all about our reputation. Reputation is really the roots of retention.
Right.
And so we said we're going to attack our reputation. And what is our reputation? And we defined it that we were hard to do business with. We were the nicest people in town, but it was tough to buy a car from us.
Right.
So we simply changed the way we did business and the way we looked and valued each customer that came in. And said if we treat these people just a little bit differently, we're a little nicer, and we help them get what they came for, which, you know, we didn't force them to come in.
Right.
They stopped by voluntarily. they just came in. So, well, let me think. Why are they here? They're not here for lumber. They're not here for lingerie. Guess what? They came to get a car.
What?
Most people want one or want a different one. And so it's simple. Our job is simply to give them a great experience and help them get what they want. It's that simple. And the second thing that we really begin to focus on, and we knew that with 37 employees, that the track record up to that point meant we were probably going to have to repurpose some of those people,
Right.
or help them repurpose themselves and find some people who fit the profile that we were looking for relative to a servant's heart, relative to their energy, their ambition, their willingness to satisfy our customers. And so, yeah, we did begin to slowly change people. I didn't want to get rid of that many people all
Sure.
at once,
Sure.
because you know what? I'd have been out there waiting on customers and doing F&I
Right.
and all that stuff. And,
Right.
thanks, but no thanks. That doesn't work. So we just begin to individually select one after another. And then we implemented what I like to call an investment culture.
Okay.
That says, if you come to work for us and you have the same values and beliefs that we have, and you want the same things we want, and that's a huge thing. We ask them
Right.
to articulate that. And if what you want lines up with what we want, then we're going to invest in you. And we're going to ask you to invest in yourself. And we will co-invest in you to help you get what you want out of life. And it really is out of life, because this is 1/3 of your life at least that you're spending here, and another third you're sleeping. So this is a big deal.
Right.
And we'll help you get what you want. And we'll invest in you so that you can. So that's a big part of our culture, is growing people. You know what? In fact, I often say, you don't grow a dealership by throwing sales or cutting prices.
Mm-hmm.
You grow a dealership by growing people.
That's right. And when you say invest in people, you're talking about time, energy, money.
Exactly.
And so when you're investing a lot and you make that commitment to invest a lot, well, then you have to be very, very particular about what you're looking for in those people. No more of the fog the mirror, come on and we'll figure it out. You have to go through quite a rigorous interview process here, and you've created such a culture of success, servanthood, and so on, that people want to come to work here. And for those of you listening, if you're having problems finding good people, get the foundation of your organization strong, and then finding people. It's really about turning people away because you have people beating the door down.
Last night, I attended they call it commencement of Dale Carnegie class.
Right.
We regularly, every year, we send a number of people through Dale Carnegie, and I think we had somewhere around 10 people at a cost of about $20,000.
Wow.
For an 8-week course, and I was so proud. These are people who came in with strengths, and you could just see that those strengths were honed and polished, and we've got better people now because of what they went every Monday night for 8 weeks.
Right.
Spent 3.5 hours from 6:30 till almost 10, and guess what? We've invested, they've grown, and we've grown.
Right.
We are better because of them.
Well, and that's something, again, I've known Joe Street, known you for quite a while. You guys aren't afraid to invest in people, whether it's money, resources, things we talked about. Let's talk just for a second about training. What kind of emphasis do you put on training here in the store? What are the requirements, not specifically what you train about? I planted some bug devices in there. I'll find that out later. But what you guys do, what your requirements are, and the focus you put on training in the store from the car business.
Thanks for that. That's a great question.
Yeah.
And we are sweeping the building right now with those machines that detect listening devices.
Okay, good.
So that won't go far. I'm just telling you.
That's all right.
We think
Scratch that out.
we think an untrained individual that if they fail, it's our fault.
That's right. That's right.
So again, we have to say, is our investment simply money, or is it our time? And in fact, our time and our effort and our clarity of purpose as management and as a fellow associate is so much more important. It really is than just spending a few bucks and
Sure.
send them to a class. They need that one-on-one integration where they know that I understand what they want.
That's right.
And if I put their needs above my own, they respond.
Back to servant
Their
management.
success is my success.
Absolutely. And I've also found that when you have your managers involved in training and helping develop other people, it's as important for your managers to train and to stay up on what they need to stay up on and to share that as it is for the people going to the classes. We're talking about upper management. How do you continue to motivate them? You have such a strong core of upper leadership in this dealership.
We several things, but primarily we meet every Wednesday morning, and it's our department heads and then some of our upper level managers, and there are 12 of us, I think. We meet 12, 13. And for the last 10 years, we've been doing book studies. And when we do a book study, it's not, okay, you hand out the book and I'm going to talk about the book one chapter at a time for the next 27 weeks. We assign the pieces of the book to each individual, and we go around the table. And so next week, my parts director might be responsible for chapter 11. And when he brings chapter 11, I ask him to do one thing, and I'll ask him to not preach about the chapter. I want them to create a discussion. I want them to facilitate. Facilitation is a leadership quality, and they need to practice that. And so it's not up to them to say what the chapter said, it's up to them to draw the conversation out of others.
Right.
Again, that's a little of Socrates' things. I can't teach you what to do. I can only ask you to bring these things to mind. And so their job is to ask questions and draw participation out. And everyone reads. Right now we actually committed 65 weeks to a book on mentoring. And this, it's 65 1.5-page chapters. And so each one perfectly fit for each week, and 65 different ways of approaching mentoring
Wow.
and how to impact proteges. And if we're not out there, out on the showroom floor, out in the dealership, mentoring the people who look to us for leadership, we're not growing.
Sure.
And we're not helping those people grow. So that's just one of the things we do on every Wednesday morning.
Cool. There's a lot of things that you guys do that are outside of the norm, and you don't page people.
No, we have no paging system. We use radios,
Right.
and just like you find at the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons, and it creates a fine hotel atmosphere versus parts call 247, parts
Right.
call 247, and people enjoy that. I don't know that they know that there's that big a difference,
Right.
except they can identify why there's a difference, but there is.
It's subtle. It's one of the little things.
Another thing I spend a lot of time talking about, and I say talking, I ask questions. I want to engage with my department heads, and I make it clear that it's their department.
Right.
If they want my opinion on an issue, I'll give it to them. They have to ask though,
Sure.
most of the time. I hope. Maybe I violate that sometimes.
Right.
But anyway, and so I want to talk to them about their people. I want to ask them, tell me about Bob. Tell me about Susan.
Right.
Where are you in your relationship with them?
Right.
What are they here after?
Right.
And those are the things I want them to be able to tell me. I'd much rather talk about that kind of stuff than facts and figures. Now,
Sure.
we'll talk about, ROI or effective labor rate or whatever
Right.
else needs to be talked about. But at the same time, we go to the heart of the matter,
Sure.
which is, why are sales down? Well, what's John out there doing?
Right.
How I've noticed him. I've passed him in the hall. I'm looking at his expression. I look at his body language. What's he saying to you?
Sure.
And
Well, that becomes when you ask those questions, it becomes about the person that you're talking to, and not about you. And Corey, your general sales manager, and I were in Atlanta at the CBT conference together, and we got to hear Nick Saban.
Oh.
And he made a really good point. He made a lot of good points, but he talked about when he was dealing with an athlete, he finds out right off the bat, just like John Maxwell says, let's find out your aspirations and let's find out your biggest fears, so that we can work with you and help develop you. And he really had the same approach. He finds out very quickly what that student athlete wants, and they generally, he said, if he can get them to say they want to be a #1 draft pick and they want to graduate, he says, then I know I have them. Because anything that happens, rather than saying you broke the rules, you didn't do this, or in our case, here's the numbers, whatever, he would turn around and say, how do your actions line up with this one goal that you told me about? And then the conversation becomes about them. He had talked about Rolando Blackman, I think, but he'd given his example that he had gotten in trouble when he was a freshman, and he said, I just want to show you that a 3rd-round draft pick and a 1st-round draft pick, my math shows about $27 million is what it was worth for you to get in this little altercation. Do you think it was worth that? Because you told me that you want to be a 1st-round draft pick, and you told me that you want to graduate school. How's this line up with those goals? And by asking and making it about him, he didn't have any more problems with him. And it's funny that you said that. When you start asking questions, you make it about them. And again, that's another example of servant
I've got to tell
management.
you, Corey came back just last week from the CBT,
Right.
and I sent him because I know he worships the ground that Nick Saban walks on. He would crawl naked over hot glass just to sniff the tire tracks of the laundry truck that took Nick Saban's dirty laundry to the cleaners.
He did that in
And
Atlanta, oddly enough, and was
I
arrested.
have no doubt.
Right.
And so I said, Corey, I think you ought to go to that CBT thing.
Right.
And I want to tell you, I didn't realize realize what a great investment that was going to be.
Oh,
There was more reward for him,
absolutely.
and he came back a changed man.
Sure.
Again, that left brain analytical side of him sometimes doesn't come out of the closet very
Right.
often. And he came back, and whatever Lou Saban and the rest of those, let me see, Patrick, the author, anyway, whatever those guys said to him, and I was out of town for the weekend, so I just saw him yesterday for the first time.
Right.
And he got fire in his eyes.
Oh, I'm telling you.
And I noticed his door was closed most of the day yesterday with different people in his office. He started the day by spending an hour with me telling me about how things were going to change.
Wow, that's
And
awesome.
It's a great, and you haven't asked me what's my reward other than asking
Right.
me about my pay, and I'm
Right.
sorry I couldn't disclose that. But,
Got me.
and here it is. This is my satisfaction.
Right.
Is my mission statement is to broker opportunity with talent.
Right.
Find somebody talented, show an opportunity, and wow, we'll
Yeah.
go to the moon.
That's right.
And to watch somebody like Corey, who's very competent.
Right.
He's third generation car dealer.
Absolutely.
You know, he's been a dealer. His father was a dealer and his grandfather was a dealer.
Right.
You know what? And so he's forgotten more than I know about the car business. He really has. And you know what? To watch him light up and watch him influence others is just that's a
That's your
satisfaction.
reward.
That is my reward.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, we've been here for a little while. I think this is going to end up being a 2-part series. I could sit here and talk to you all day. I really have not gotten any real trade secrets, which was part of my goal and mission here. But
We have a handout.
I respect you so much, and not just as a car guy, but just the leader that you are. You've influenced me. We've got to do some things together. I love watching you work. I'm jealous, yes. Am I frustrated? Yes, to watch you guys dominate. We're different kinds of dealerships, but I'll tell you, I learn something every time I get to talk to you, and I think that people watching will have learned a lot listening to you. And I think the biggest thing that I take away from our conversation is that you have to do it one step at a time. You can't expect immediate results. There's no such thing as an overnight success, but I appreciate your time very, very much. Anything else you want to add?
I
Before we go.
just want the selfie for someday when you're famous.
Okay,
You know?
someday.
Smile. Is he smiling? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay.
Okay, we're going to wrap this thing up. How can people if somebody out there has a question that maybe you've kind of touched their heart today or got them thinking about something, maybe can they find you on Facebook or email or website or something? There's some way somebody can get a hold of you if they wanted to kind of pick your brain.
Let me tell you a quick story.
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken at the last 3 digital dealer
Right.
conferences and about retention and essentially what we've been talking about today.
Sure. Sure.
And a fellow from Brazil emailed me,
Wow.
told me about the devastating economy, and he said, "What can I share with my fellow dealers to help make us successful?" And we've
Right.
shared a few emails.
Yeah.
I love that. I get my satisfaction out of
That's
helping
right.
others. So
That's right.
somebody wants to know something, Street Toyota, Amarillo, Texas, look at our website, Google us, and I'm Mike Good.
Mike Good, Street Toyota, Amarillo, Texas, superstar, dominating the market, kicking my tail. I love listening to him. It always gets me inspired. We don't have the same kind of cars, but I'm telling you, I really would love to be sitting over in this chair in this garage with all these fancy cars. And I appreciate you, Mike, as always.
Thank you.
All right.